Wow. Just January 13th, 2020. That's 01/13/2020. 6:35 a.m. Columbus, Ohio, Walnut Street, Gibb Street. Waking up, even though technically I woke up way earlier, so I'm not sure exactly when the dream happened. But within maybe the last 30 minutes to an hour, fire department stuff with Tottenville, Staten Island, uh, some type of ability of are you our friend or not? This is the way it works. You're a weirdo. Someone being angry with me in my sleep. Just weird shit. An old man, which relatively represents the newcomers that's been fucking with me that moved into Carl Newman's house. This is reality. This is not dream. Carl Newman's house, right across the street from me here in Columbus, Ohio. The same people, just like Carl Newman, from Columbus, Ohio, being in Tottenville, Staten Island with me at the same time. That's interstate stalking. They love utilizing mental mind power, domination, power freak shows, but utilizing where, yes, I may be incapacitated to the point I am vulnerable, and they're utilizing those vulnerabilities to attack me with, just like hypnotic suggestions in my sleep. But when you're utilizing hypnotic suggestions, if you cause someone to dream every night with an assault, it's almost like trying to create PTSD, and more than likely can. Or cause mental delusions and problems. And when that person wakes up, they're in fear, they're different. They go out into society, they go out in the community, and then you have these people there already, usually physically, in the community, taunting and teasing, or doing something like, he's not okay, look, he's under duress, or he looks like he's under duress because the person didn't have a good night's sleep, or they was assaulted in their sleep and they're trying to get over it. Mental and emotional inflictions while they're asleep, so they didn't get any type of ability to recover from the day before, the weeks, or whatever else is on their mind. Somebody re-erecting whatever could be wrong, especially if there's been abuse, assault, sexual assault. Excuse me. I've caught a cold, and I've had a cold for over 2.5 weeks. And that's another thing. Hypnotic suggestion in the sleep, not allowing the body to repair itself, either keeping the person, basically awake and not to the fullest ability to recover from even literally physical health sicknesses. But here's the situation with that. I want to talk about, and I've done it before, New York City, New York, 2005. I had an oral surgery before I got out there. That's the first time I went to New York. I had hiked there. Excuse me. I hiked there. In 2005, I started getting back a lot of my own subconscious or my abilities because of this oral surgery. It just caused my body and mind, it was interfering with me so bad that it drug me down on top of other things. They also said there was some type of implant removed with it, a nasal, what they was calling it some type of nasal stent. Not like a microchip, it was just a stent of some sort that was illegally placed inside up around my jaw or something, that was causing more problems with the wisdom tooth. So, just like right now, to where my body wasn't regulating right, and my mind was starting to ratify to the point it lost its ability to have its fullest power, even, just health wise, which caused mental dilemmas later on to where, like, I was vulnerable. And that was their intent. Anyways, the vulnerability lessened, all of it lessened crap loads. Not just a little bit, it wasn't bad. It completely almost went away to where I wasn't hypnotizable in my sleep or bothered in my sleep. I wouldn't be in like either a light sleep or a deep sleep, which meaning at times light sleep to where I wasn't sleeping properly, or a deep sleep is where they're hypnotically suggesting and I don't wake up, or such a deep sleep that I don't wake up to things that I should have woken up to. And them trying to dominate and enforce these kind of trans and situations, like trying to sedate somebody, utilizing physical power, and or it's been also proven I've had food and drink contaminated with Tylenol and shit like that from coffee shops that they've told the people to do so they can induce this state, or it helps them to induce the mental states while I'm asleep, even awake, with what they want to do. Anyhow, New York City, New York, 2005, a group of 5 people standing over top of me. I was homeless at the New York City Library where I was sleeping. I was on the concrete slab. Cops show up. They was in a circle playing basically even worse, but in the idealistic, what's that movie with the witches, light as a feather, stiff as a board, but hypnotic suggestions and spells. But the cop also observed some of the things they was doing wasn't like bless the soul. It was to more irritate, intimidate, threaten. And even like when I woke up, because I woke up almost immediately when they was doing this. This is why the vulnerability, what I said, the vulnerability of myself lessened completely. I was laying there and I knew they was doing something I was trying to figure out, and I listened and I remember what they was doing, and some of their intent I noticed were myself. One, they knew who I was. I didn't know nobody in New York City. I was a loner by myself, so whoever attacked me, it was an attack because they knew who I was. They knew who I was either from Colorado or Ohio, and I'll say Colorado and or Ohio. With that being said, so it's technically they're emotionally assaulting, attacking. Technically, it can lead into kind of like physical attack, that where it wasn't physically touched, but it caused your physical body to do certain things that ain't right, which would be physical. There's other things that happen with the police later on, years and years carried out being in and out of New York City later on, that situations like that happened, even to sexual assault or sexual harassment in my sleep, causing dreams, and then mimicking things, causing noises, sound effects around me while I was homeless, opened out on the streets, vulnerable, and being completely basically stalked, followed. The police intervened in a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but some of it, but when they did, the one intervention covers everything else that's happened, just like sexual assault or sexual harassment. Anyways, the cop intervenes on these 5 individuals and says, how do I know you're not in here? Basically everything under the sun. Contaminating evidence, threatening him from a court case, threatening his life while you're in here, something else is going on. All the rest. I see 5 of you standing over top of him, basically doing something that seems that like it's more threatening. It's at least dominating and power controlling. How do I know what you're doing? And he asked me what happened. And he said, did you know what they was doing to you? And whatnot, trying to get a feel of if I would accept it though also. And I said, yeah, I kind of do. And no, I didn't approve of it, and I didn't appreciate it for the fact, no, they was doing what I said, something weird, like it was assaultive, like they was trying to play some spellbinding game or hypnotic suggestion to where they're basically power control freaks and controlling things while I was asleep, dominating my personal space and my body with their powers and auras and their bioenergetics from their body, and pushing it onto mine. Well, some of the vulnerabilities like I talk about is also losing the ability, basically becoming incompetent and not understanding, regulating, and your mind and body not regulating right, like bioenergies, and felling out on recognizing personal spaces of those bioenergies. And these guys are trying to utilize physical help. Well, he does it to others, we're doing it to him. Revenge, payback, or what's fair and even. But you put together this, I'm new to New York City. These guys are also with identifiable characteristic traits and what they was talking about. And this ain't the only incident, because it happens day after day, even still right here in Columbus, Ohio. They utilize, at the minimum, hypnotic suggestions. And it's hard to talk about without having some psychiatric. If it was so psychiatric, why would the cops get involved and be on my side multitudes of times of what the condition and what the situation can cause, just like sexual assault or sexual harassment in the sleep? Someone trying to sexually, even without physically touching, harass another person in their sleep. Either give them a dream like gay rape, erect a rape, and make fun of them, snarling in their dreams, causing them emotional pain. Especially if they study it enough to understand, just like a forensic sleep aid doctor or a forensic doctor that studies sleep, the abilities behind the powers that they're using, much less possibly contaminating evidence to a criminal case or whatever it be. So it's very illegal. Much less it also consisting no different than if the person was awake, like the sexual harassment. At the minimum, it being sexual harassment. That's pretty damn violating, don't you think? Anyhow, I go to sleep tonight and I explain well, I won't say most, I explain some of what happened. The violation is being an older man, being dominated by the voices that they're utilizing. Little boy, little man, little kiddo. I'm an adult. Utilizing the sleep to where I don't repair myself physically. I've had a cold for 2.5 weeks. This is the longest cold that I've had. Excuse me. Get the point by the body not being able to recover to its bestest point because somebody's interfering with you. Especially in your sleep, but me, it's day in, day out. But the domination and what does the things, if I can remember the whole dream, I take it to somebody to analyze what does it mean. Without being in the nicest way of your mind's configuring, no, the hypnotic suggestion. Get away from the mind creating it and have something else as hypnotic, what I call hypnotic suggestion. Have it to where it's narrated and implanted, like a memory implant. But anyways, do like a forensic sleep doctor putting somebody into a hypnotic trance and talking and trying to extract memories. When I count to 3, you'll go to a deeper sleep. Utilizing steps and professionalism and their studies. Just like the 5 people when it started out, and that was the last time I put up with that shit without complaining about it. But at the same time, I've been completely overran by those who create you're psychotic, we don't understand, there's no proof in the system, or anything for you to stand with legitimately when you talk of things like that, because it doesn't matter. Technically, you can't prove anybody micro-voicely talking to you or what they actually did. Even if they're standing over you, if they didn't do anything physical to you, then you can't. There's no evidence. There's nothing for us to go on. And me being played out by those who want to believe that. That's where corruption comes involved and misconduction. Anyhow, I have people in here that's understanding or participating to where they're trying to be like, I'm your friend. But that's the way you have to accept it. I tell you what, once you cross the line, then you're no friend. You're backstabbing, but if it ain't even backstabbing, you're also manipulating the values that are there. And when you manipulate those values, especially crossing the line, where, here, accept life, I'll be friendly with you as long as you basically mindset yourself as kiddo. Incapacitated, nobody likes you, so I'm participating too. Look, if you accept this, we'll make your life great type of situation. And this shit being done in your sleep. Mind altering, emotionally affecting. And I do want to think about it. I'm trying to pull this out and explain to those who don't understand. Think about being sexually assaulted in your sleep every night. Not just once, even though that's good enough, especially if it pulls out a sexual assault that happened prior. Being beaten on, being threatened, being ran off, all the rest. And then positively most of these dreams are caused by somebody utilizing some type of, per se, hypnotic act. like a doctor would, or a professional, basically, or and are professionals. They've studied it good enough, utilizing these tactics, and you know that it's not right. It is able to be done. All the emotional, all the physical, all the exertion of pain. Me trying to explain that. Now, I spaced out a little bit trying to keep my head together because there's other things that I want to throw in here. But yeah, this is for the ones that manipulate. Hey, kiddo, your life will become better. Why are you taking the vulnerabilities that they have? That means you don't want to truly get to the roots of that person's cause. You just want some type of community representation and stability. Much less while once you become a newcomer and you're automatically labeled with that, you're a part of a situation now, and that is no different than like gangbanging. You're no different to the situation than when it was the perpetrators were perpetrators. You become perpetrator. The allowance, if it was allowed by the person, it was okayed. It was, you talked about it or not, but it was okay by the person. It's almost also like it's okay, and then you do something to somebody, and it is like, hey, kiddo. It's a discriminative, it's a power freak show, taking advantage of that person's ability and capacity, which was not agreed upon. You've crossed the line. You join the others. You're no longer allowed to have his friendship. You're no longer allowed to access. You're no longer allowed to interfere with. He says no. It's no different than sexual motivation or anything else. No means no. No means no, don't talk to me. No means also don't bother me. No means you don't try to hypnotically suggest utilizing psychological mental power, much less everything in your body, to dominate and control freak, power show your shit, just because, hey, people didn't like you because you're around him, maybe smiled, while he's being assaulted and interstate stalked, group gang banged and everything else, and now somebody else is taking grief with it that I'm around, which goes to show, which I've already explained, police has been involved elsewhere. Columbus, Ohio has to be what was already said by other police and multitudes of other cities, the roots of the corruption, the stalking, and what's going on to me, or going on with me. That's including city officials, law, corruption, period, with inside the legal, the government system, and not enacting right. But for them to allow this shit to go on. I spaced some of that out because I got this damn cold, what I was going to carry out with. But no matter what, it's just it's all messed up. Just completely messed up to the point I'm done. You just don't allow this to happen. Just what I was going to say with that is what legally has been seen elsewhere as group, not even just group stalking, but even also busting literally gangs involved. Street gangs being told by somebody else to enact out, basically hired like a job. So, with that being said, being victimized and then being threatened, it's in the scenario, not a stereotype, of no, he has no friends because the people that he comes in contact with are now being threatened either of any type of harm, even if it is social life ruining, which was explained to me directly from a psychiatrist here in Franklin County. Finally, at least just a little bit of room to move with. Social life death is almost as powerful or is the same thing as physical life death. The only difference is, and that's where the lesserness is your body's alive, you're breathing, but basically there's nothing else there. It's not brain death completely, but the injury is there, the social life injury, to the point that the person, or as yourself, has nothing to work with. There's no life. Nobody's going to give you life because of what these other individuals have done to you, what they have destroyed socially, publicly, not just physically, not just a part of yourself, but the community, the system, and society. The people that are in here, like I said, that have crossed the line, We know this happens, so I did this to make you feel better, even though later on, the trustworthy of what they said is nothing but power and control to be a part of the other group, the perpetrators. Even in the bestest, lightest way, doesn't matter. You've crossed the line from friend to enemy. And that's the only way that it works. This is also discussed at Twin Valley Mental Health Institution here in Columbus, Ohio. They have crossed the line, even law enforcement, the people that are bothering without even just putting it being literally legally understood and written down. They are not to cross those lines, and they are. They're not to cross those lines with the authority, an authoritative attack. They're not to cross the lines personally with a personal attack. Everything that they do is illegal. Besides it being lawful stuff, personally understandable as being good and bad, which ain't the bestest way of putting it. All the stuff that they keep crossing the line with is bad. What they're doing by crossing the line is bad. I do have a personal right to say so. They're not to utilize so much force with me, and that's all they do. Force of domination, the force and rights of our people. It's an entrapment to where they set somebody up. It's no different than, to a point, implanting, like, you see cop videos, implanting drugs on the individual and then arresting them for it type of scenarios. They're not implanting drugs. It's not completely criminal. It's a psychological implant of social situation of work that later on evidentialized, or they tried to persuade as evidentialized, which was already busted. This ain't just made up and me thinking it's happened. It's already been represented to where they perjurize and lie and systematically assault, to where it makes it look like the system will take control. What they've studied by implanting or planting this type of psychosocial, whatever mental health situation onto the person that they're attacking. No different than implanting a pound of coke on an individual and saying you're under arrest now that you have coke on you. You're going to prison for life or whatever it be. The threat on top, utilizing the threat behind it, the control, the authority. Twin Valley said they're power control freaks. The cops should be able, not just the cops, but now I cut the sentence there. The cops, the police, the law enforcement should be able to intervene here. If not, somebody is doing something wrong. Another weight on my shoulders. Systematical misconduction that's not working. My whine and complain that I'm being attacked for, also making not just videos, but everyday life. Them eavesdropping, wiretapping, and doing everything else that they can. It's been said they can see me inside my house. Now, I've had other situations to where they've showed, or people have showed me that somebody's had cameras in their house and they're allowed to, except for in bedrooms and bathrooms. But no matter what, then they have a right to break my privacy. It's a right to profile with, especially if you're staying with a family member and them misutilizing the situation rather than it being for safety and protection, utilizing it to assault another individual. The same situation I'm in here. And what these people are saying, my family, there's nobody that lives here in the house right now, even though they have in the past. They've been gone for a bit. Neighbors, as if they're like security guards for the family. Enacting out, mixing things up to the maximum. He'll never prove what's going on. Oh, we was told it's okay, and we are here security guarding like for your mom and your older brother, and they love dominating with Jake, pitting out the harshest tone that they can. He's the best. He's one of ours. You don't need to be ever around him. Get lost. You're a mental retard. And if you don't quit, we're going to end up doing everything that we can, that we already have and already are doing to you, until you get away from your family, your mother, your brother, and especially Jake. He's better than you. You're a mental retard. All this. We'll give him our life, our social powers, our friendship. Whatever hurts you, we'll give to him. Whatever hurts you that makes you fucking not good, makes you feel bad, or even completely obliteratedly hurt, we're going to give to him so you can see it like a reflection. So you can reflect it. It bother you. You ain't shit. Anyways, A lot of homosexuality, literally, like a homosexual mob, mafia, organized crime involved. That's one main big point that's been pointed out. Main big point. It's not the only thing, because it's hard, complex situation that I'm in. But anyhow, with that being said, being allowed to utilize eavesdropping techniques and trying to utilize it that it's publicly legal to do this, okay myself with it. It's no different than allowing somebody telling you, well, since I want to be friendly with you, okay me to allow to completely control your life, to completely emotionally affect you to the point that, it could become and then later on it did become dangerous and assaultive because of the things that they did, or agreeance with myself and things not working out or agreeing with, and being able to have those abilities. Anyhow, spacing out a little bit, but I do want to go back into what I was talking about, where these guys are utilizing that is, and they're doing things in public, taking things I'm doing inside my house and going to the stores with them. Any store, not just one store, but 150 West Sycamore Kroger's is one of them. And running their fucking mouth. Taunting, how would you like, it's a privacy, it's a mental hardship too, and even a psychiatrist will be able to explain it. If somebody, you're in here and you're in your bedroom, you're taking a bath, and they tell you that you're utilizing a blue sponge while you're taking a bath at the store under their breath, you may not be able to prove it. Just the ideal itself. Think about the ideal itself of somebody watching you take the bath. It's personally violating. It would cause an emotional stir. Dominating with that power one time could be frustrating enough to be pissed. It continually happening is more than just harassment. Completely obliteration of that person. Whoever's doing it is not doing it just for the, hey, I'm going to beat you up. It's, hey, I'm going to basically kill you. I'm dominating you, and I'm going to emotionally kill you. Emotionally, completely, psychologically waste you to the point that you're not recoverable. Not even socially, mentally, or anything else. Anyways, which has already happened to myself. No intervention, none of this. And then pitting out community. We have a right to do this. Quit walking around talking to yourself. But the under the breath mumbles. Nobody cares. And that's the attitude that I got from this community now. Nobody cares. You're too fucking crippled to be around us. Give me back from day one when I told you when I still had abilities or when I was healthier that somebody's making me sick. And now, 8 years later, 10 years later, 5 years later, from each incident and whatever else, I'm sicker now than what I was to begin with. When I first stated, even just no different than anybody else, speaking out loudly, giving some type of grievance, or trying to openly express that there's something wrong, you don't like it, can I correct it? Can I stop doing something? Can I request myself the situation to stop? And there's compliance. What? I don't have any power, but your community, everybody else, has the rights to dominate and overpower me. Unfairly treated in the community. On top, with proof in their face, I'm sicker now than when I first requested you or tried to help people be acknowledgeable of what's going on. I'm sicker now than when I first requested to say, hey, and put out the evidential form. It's going to make me sick or it's making me sick. And nobody did nothing. Now I'm too sick to deal with, and oh, well, so what? It doesn't matter. You're too sick to deal with. The community doesn't want to deal with it. The people that we have lives, we have our own children, trying to put it into guardianship effects, putting it into such incapacity that is basically they have to be caregiving in the community. They created that situation themselves so they could assault with. Is no different than what I explained of implanting cocaine or planting cocaine on a person and criminally saying, you're busted with it, I got you, and you're going to prison. No different than psychologically, mentally, and mental health system-wise, creating a condition against a person and then trying to have it lawfully written up. With that being said, I'm ending this. Those who tried to help aren't helping. They're a part of the perpetrators, backstabbing ass friends with friendly grins. On top, if I lose health. I can understand you're being friendly because you thought I had the capacity to take care of myself or take care of the situation. Well, then it's overcapacitated now. It's obliterated, it's assaulted, and at which point they may take some grief, whoever's participating, or a lot. They don't have to accept it. I agree 100%. Wouldn't want to be around it either, so see you. But doesn't mean you keep participating with the situation then. You should be smart enough with what I explained to you to make and to be able to decide how things work. If you participate affected, I don't expect to watch participation manipulation and being backstabbed. In Columbus, Ohio, what I was told by the psychiatric people in Twin Valley, after analyzing my story, that type of action is illegal. It's misdemeanor, belittling, and harassment at the minimum. With proof, it can move into further other situations, much less civil charges and whatnot. But that's that. I'm ending this video. What a wake up. Even the dream that I had, I didn't fully explain. It was emotional. It was dominating. It was utilizing some type of structure of psychology. My vulnerabilities. Okay, just because the dreams haven't just broken me down and opened up vulnerabilities, I have a cold. I prove that just by coughing. It may not be legitimate proof, but go to show I'm not lying. There, even if I was there, it made look like I have a cold at the least. I'm open and more vulnerable. Read into the website that I got, Target of Unlawful Acts. I should be posting. If not, look at the Facebook page of why does a cold make people feel stupid. It does alterate the brain to a point. It lessens the power of the brain, creating vulnerabilities. And they are in here now. That's a hell of a thing for them. Not only prior taking advantage, but now a whole nother realm of more power, more ability, an advantage, more me being vulnerable for them to take control of and implanting some type of psychosocial situation while I'm asleep. It's not just the one individuals. It has to be explained later. If I had a witness in this house, it'd work out. They would understand. Somebody that was fair, right, and correct. I've been told since my situation is what it is, it would cost an exuberant amount of money for the system to send that type of witness or that type of person, investigator, into the house. The people that are perpetrating this also work with inside, some of them work with government, like local law enforcement, which misconduction and corruption happening, also participating with social or without being crip or blood gang stalking or a gang member, gang stalking, participating with the crowd. This was investigated in Colorado Springs even like 15 years ago and was busted down. I'll explain that story later and have in other videos. But anyhow, to given some stability to those who watch this video, if it ever makes it to the end, the police in other places have represented this and have done the ultimate job as far as I know. Even busting real gang members with gang crimes, even if it's shouting out their car window, trying to belittle. And those gang members that were affiliated or can be affiliated was criminally charged with not just harassment, but gang crimes. Gangbanging. 2.5 years for an affiliate messing around and violating the paperwork that they was given to not participate with gang activities, grouping and threatening or whatever it would be. And being busted, threatening me. I don't give a fuck. And it went from a 6 months misdemeanor harassment, which was still applied and stuck, but also them getting 2 years because their paperwork says any action out of them is an automatic 2 years in prison, not even jail for them. That's the type of works I want here in Columbus. It's too fucking late. Even though at any time is good. It's too late. I've already been obliterated here. Now watch somebody take this, and this is the nasty shit that happens. It looks like it's good, but really it isn't. It's also taken away, it's almost robbing the other person of the ability to stand grounds for the prior situation of, we'll help you. We got the situation to stop. That's all there is to it. What happened to all the damage prior? Type of situation, while they also kind of snub with it. We made actions that fuck you, but at the same time make us look good in the public's face. We don't give a shit either. We're tired of the situation. We don't want to put up with it. You think having friends, family, and whatnot completely disappearing or saying, we don't want nothing to do with you because of the problems, law enforcement, the people that are supposed to protect you, doing the same thing? On top, those who are corrupted about and with and participating with the crimes, even trying to say, prove it, getting into all this stuff, just go with that it is that way. And them taking advantage of that person and utilizing all that force that caused the situation of non-caring. Oh, well, then this is also how this works. You have to call your parents, a guardian, all the rest. Being told illegal shit, and what could possibly be legal in the future. Even though I asked Twin Valley Mental Health here, guardianship, am I an independent for myself? I don't want my family to ever have any control, in a sense, of my life when they're sabotaging so much. And somebody trying to play with homosexual uncles that live right here in Columbus with me, we're giving them the rights to your life, while also belittling. We know you don't like the homosexuals, not just your uncles, but the homosexual deal anyhow, and forcing it onto me. You a bitch, we can do whatever we want to you. Just outright, flat ass outright. Same thing with the psychological assaults, torts, and everything else. No different than forcing a person to go through a court system because they planted cocaine on them, or they planted this mental health situation, and causing them to go through the systematical assault, grievance, and whatnot with whatever they want to do with the situation. Even enforcing, you better alterate yourself. Accept this. If you lessen yourself, let me be happy with you, utilizing homosexual and sexually motivated things, enforcement of community and characteristic and traits, then we'll allow you to basically live. We'll leave you alone, or we'll lessen the power against you that we're utilizing. What a crock of shit. Very severe situations going on here in Columbus, Ohio, but it has followed many, many years across the United States. Even though I've been told by other law enforcement in other states, the participation, it seems like the roots of the cause is Columbus, Ohio. Not only just gang members and people, but even the system itself. Corruption, violation, severity of shit. Go ahead and end this video on that notion. Peace. What a sad life. I hate it. I really do. I've been obliterated, mentally incapacitated and obliterated, trying to prove the injuries these people have caused, and even getting the word out without looking psychiatrically messed up or taking grief from anybody that would want to support. And most of the supporters turn their back because it doesn't matter. You're incapacitated, you need help. They are all about understanding. That's all there is to it. Nobody has to deal with my problems. You can dish them out, but you can't accept them back. What a crazy deal. Peace.